and everything has a reason. Even in a marriage, I think I want to give the couple something to look forward to so that they know what they're dealing with. Usually, the first 2 years of marriage is what we call young love. That's when the honeymoon keeps going. And for 2 years, these two people will just keep falling in love to each other and everything seems to be okay. But then the next 3 years, the third year to the 10th year is what we call the realistic love. And this love usually hits rock bottom because this is when reality sets in. This is when you start thinking about family, when you start thinking about responsibilities. And then the reality, when it hits the road, it sometimes becomes very traumatic and the couples don't know how to deal with it. They usually end up in divorce. The 11th to the 25th year is what we call comfortable love. And this is when two people are now, they know each other very well. They know what it is to be in love, and they're now more comfortable. They know how to deal with issues of life. They know how to overcome challenges in life, and they're now very comfortable. So that's what we call the stage of comfort. The fourth stage of love is what we call the 26th year to 35th year. If you have a marriage that lasts that long, God bless you. This is what we call the renewing love. This is when the two people, they now the kids are all grown up, they all married off, and they're all independent. Now the couple is looking towards empty nest syndrome. They now have more time on their hands. And what we call this renewing love is when the two people look at each other and now want to renew their vows. I mean, when two people first get married, they exchange their vows, but a lot of times they forget. But later on in their marriage, they realize that their vows mean something. They want to renew their vows. And of course, the last stage of a married life is what we call the 36 years and after. And this is where we celebrate these big anniversaries. If you have a marriage that lasts that long, truly, you've been blessed. This is what we call the transcendent love. Transcendent love is when you see the other person as when you first met that person on your first date. So I think for couples to realize that when they're dating, this is something that's so important because later on in life, in your marriage life, it will also come back. So here's some advice for the guys. I think guys, we are men who are very much task-oriented. And we like to do things. We like to achieve things. And one of them includes our future life mate. They say there's a cliche in English. They say that for the guy to chase after the girl, it's the thrill of the chase. And you know what? I think here's my advice for the guys. Put your priority on your relationship. Put your priority on. What I mean by that is that if you love that girl so much and you want to marry her, she has to know that she's a priority in your life. If she has to compete for your attention, if she has to compete for your love of technology, or your love of video games, or your love for sports, if your girlfriend or your fiance has to compete for your attention, then she's no longer a priority in your life. And the relationship will usually go very, very sour. So here's my advice, guys. Put the priority back in your relationship. Put that girl back on your priority list. Second, guys, we need to learn how to show and tell. I think for guys, this is difficult because guys are intrinsically very quiet. They're very reserved. And a lot of the times, they don't express their feelings. That's why they need a Valentine's card to express their love to their wife and girlfriends. Because they can't say it themselves. They need somebody to write it for them. And then they buy the card, they sign the name, and then they give it to the wife. Well, guys, you know what? I think if you want your relationship to be fresh, you need to learn how to show and tell. What I mean by show and tell is like, show your feelings. Show them. If you're angry, tell your wife you're angry. If you love them so much, then tell them that you love them so much. Show and tell. Show means show your affection. Talk about your feelings. Guys don't like to do that because guys want to be guys. I'm a man. I don't like to talk about my feelings. I like to be macho. I like to be bravado. I don't like to talk about feelings. You know, guys who talk about their feelings, they're wimps. You know, they're not men. But you know what? I think relationship is for two people. It's between a man and a woman. I think for a man to be able to make a relationship work, they have to give and take. And part of the giving is to be able to talk about their feelings, show and tell. Here's my third advice, guys. I think we need to learn how not to always solve problems. You know, if your fiance comes back and tells you they have a rough day, they have this and that, and then you attempt to solve their problems, you know what? It's not so much the problem solving. I think what the fiance or your girlfriend needs is for them to see that you're listening. I think you need to practice listening. Here's some advice for women. Women, I think guys When guys, before they met you, guys have a bunch of men that they hang around with. I hang around with my guy friends. I hang around with my boys. You know what? Once they get married, they almost look at you as somebody that they want to hang out with. I love you, honey, but I want to hang out with you. But if the guys want to hang out with you, I think the least that the women can do, and here's my advice, is to be able to share the kind of activities that your husband is involved. If your husband loves bowling, then bowl with him. If your husband likes to play mahjong with him. But don't just look at, hey, guys, you do your thing, I do mine. You do your stuff and I'll do mine. It's not like that. To make a relationship fresh and lasting, I think here's my advice for women. Be able to relate to your men by sharing some activities with them. Here's my second advice for women. Be your husband's biggest fan. I think guys, we intrinsically like to be recognized. We want to be recognized. If we do a good thing, we want to know that we're doing good things. So women, know how to compliment your men. Say that, hey, that's a job well done. That's good for you, honey. I think we need to hear that. I think for men, we need to hear it. For women, they need to feel it. So it's a lot of give and take. So in conclusion, I think, first of all, I think for couples who are going to get married, it's your job to love your mate. Nobody else's. It's not your mother-in-law. It's not your father-in-law. It's not your brother-in-law. It's you. If you two get married, it's your job to love each other. Secondly, I think every person is unique. We need to be an expert of our spouse. Nobody knows your spouse except you. No doctor or psychiatrist should be able to tell you that they know your spouse better than you do. You're the one, because you're the one to marry them. So you should be an expert of your spouse. Thirdly, I think it's not so much finding the right partner. It's not so much finding the right person. It's to be the right person. I think the being is so important rather than just to find one. Because you need to know that you're spending the rest of your life with that person. So to be the right person is far more a precedent than to find the right person. So that's all I want to share today.